In this episode of the Mountain Bike Show, we'll take you to a mountain bike race and show you some of the pitfalls. Alice B. Toklips herself, Jackie Phelan, three-time national champion, discusses women, mountain biking, and the future.
These bikes, I think they liberate a woman.
And Bruce Kemp will show us a revolutionary new technology designed to make shifting a snap. Hi, my name's Ted Reich. You know, mountain bike racing is a relatively young sport. It's fun and full of surprises. Come on along with me, I'll show you. Here we are in beautiful Montera, California, just about 30 minutes south of San Francisco for the Montera Mountain Bike Classic. This cross-country lap race is held in the hills above Montera every year. It's a beautiful day here. The sun is shining. It's about 64 degrees. Perfect day for mountain biking.
All the sport riders will be going at once. We've got about 7 minutes to start this race.
The racers will climb to the top of the hill and do 3 laps around the summit. Then they'll head down and do 3 more laps near the base. You're just in time to see the sports class racers take off towards this harrowing course. Sports class racers. These are young people who don't have a lot of racing experience, but they're going for it. The sports racers spend 40 minutes circling the summit, while the spectators wait at the bottom. Here comes the lead racer now. It's number 269, Reed Mather. Looks like he's headed up to expert class. Next race after this race is going to be the pro and expert races. And we'll take a look at the expert and pros in a few minutes, but first, let's take a look at an interesting part of the course. Most of the track is fire road or rough pavement, but here is one of the several spots where the road has been completely washed out. The track drops down into a ditch with a 1-foot curb on the other side. Volunteers stand by to warn the racers about the danger. It's almost impossible to ride this thing.
Not gonna make it.
Well, yeah, catch it, guys. Come on.
Hey, you're looking good.
It was interesting to watch how the racers tried to negotiate this obstacle. Some tried to ride it.
Go, Richie, go, yeah!
More tires the next time. It's left. You can do it, eh? All right.
Hey,
Guys, come up on your... Need more speed if you're gonna make it.
Some tried walking or running their bikes through.
Yeah, you are! A mile ahead of them. All right. Go there, guys. Go in.
Okay, you're at night. You're catching up real quick here.
Some had their own method of getting through.
No. Don't even try it. Hey, you're
All right.
All right.
Hey, all right, you guys.
All right, come
Keep
on.
tab. Just lead it. You guys are hot. Take it.
Come on, you got it. Yeah, you come on your ass back. Come on, take it all the way.
And some almost made it.
Yes! Oh, yeah, dude. Too big of a man. Got a cruiser, man. You guys can make it.
But the fastest way seemed to be getting off the bike and carrying it through, like Reed Mather.
Hey, all right. Hey, there he is.
Got Marcus right ahead of you. You got to catch him.
Good technique, looking sharp. Quickly.
That's the smart way to do it.
Good fifth, man.
Hey, you're looking good.
Hey, all right.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, God.
In fact, we saw several instances where one racer got ahead of another
Hey, good
because he carried his bike.
Go, Richie! Oh!
Catch
that.
it, man.
Damn, you remember this one, huh?
These guys pre-rode the cars.
Come on, man. These guys are catching it.
Richie!
Racers also had their own techniques for getting back on their bikes.
Good job.
The volunteers can't resist the challenge.
You would have made it if you had more momentum.
I hit the bottom too hard.
You hit the bottom too hard.
Ooh, that hurt. This gentleman is calling off his engagement. Here come the expert and pro racers challenging the uphill. There's Tom Collins, top pro racer for Marin Mountain Bikes. And the winner of the pro race is Tom Collins. Looks like he got scraped up along the way.
The third time up the hill, the steep hill, Donald is up on me by minute 10. And I look up, I see him coming down, I go, that's Don Myra. And I can see
Coming down the wrong way.
he's going the wrong way. And he had,
was he?
he had his chain in his hands. I go, to myself, I said, sorry, Don. And I really meant it, but
That's the brakes, honey.
I'll take it.
Good job, Tom.
Thanks, Mike.
Fuck, what happened to you?
When?
You playing with the chainsaw up there?
I was.
At the end of the day, all the racers gathered at the chart house for a barbecue and the race results. And now, the winner of the sports class race
is Reed Mather. And Reed had a fantastic finish, digging into the ground. And Reed, you're going to receive a Veta Corsa Light helmet, a Mount Zephyl pump, and Mongoose mountain toe clips and straps. Strap it on, Reed.
And first place in the pros
is Tom Collins. And I believe he was a Marin rider. All right, good job, Tom. Tom led the pack by minutes. A tremendous athlete.
And there's one more winner worth mentioning.
In second place, Theo Roichi.
Hey, that's me.
Good job, Theo.
Actually, I took second in the master's class, and I thought that was pretty great. You know, one of the hardest things about riding a mountain bike is shifting, especially in varying terrain. Well, there's some new technology out now that's going to make shifting easier. And here's Bruce Kemp to tell you all about it.
Hi, I'm Bruce Kemp with a look at Shimano's new Hyperglide shifting system. In the past, shifting was an art. You moved the lever and had to listen for the chain to move into position. If the chain wasn't exactly on the gear, you had to move the lever back or forward until it sounded right. Shimano's click shifting system changed that and made it easier for everyone, especially beginners. Now Shimano's come up with a new shifting system called Hyperglide, and it solves another problem cyclists have had to deal with: shifting while pedaling uphill. With old shifters, if you were putting a lot of torque on the chain or going too slow when you shifted to a lower gear, the derailleur wouldn't be able to move the chain, and you would stall. This new design makes it effortless to shift while pedaling uphill. Special chain guide channels have been machined into each gear to help guide the chain. Now when you shift while pedaling slow or uphill, the chain moves right on to the next gear, and off you go. The one drawback to Shimano's new Hyperglide system is that it wears out quickly, but its sure, clean, responsive shifting makes up for that. Till next time, this is Bruce Kemp.
Most people think mountain biking is a male sport, rough, rugged, and gnarly. But women have been involved in the sport since its beginning. Probably the most famous of these women is Jackie Phelan. Jackie is one of the most respected mountain bikers in California. She was a national champion racer during the first half of the 80s, and she formed the Wombats, a riding club just for women. Charlie Cunningham, her husband, is one of the most respected bicycle makers in the world. I talked with Jackie recently about her experiences and views on the future of mountain biking. Thanks for coming, taking time off from your busy schedule. Why don't you tell us how you got involved in mountain biking?
It was about 8 years ago now, in 1981. Well, no, the very first mountain bike ride I ever took was on my 5-speed Raleigh girls' bike with a basket and a chain guard and a little derailleur. I could change gears. It was a pretty nice rattle trap, the kind that school marms ride to school on in England, and it was my heap. And a friend told me that there was this ride in Fairfax, an annual ride that works up an appetite for Thanksgiving. So in 1980, we pedaled over from San Francisco, and when I turned into Fairfax, I turned a crucial corner in my life, because after I went on that dirt ride on this rattle trap of a bike that people were really making fun of, I decided that this is really what I want to be doing. Singing for all I'm worth on the downhills, and scared out of my mind, but having a great time. Well, on this ride, Gary Fisher saw me, and he remembered me because I used to have a big old bell helmet, and this was when nobody wore helmets, and on top was this toy duck. And it was a little joke, so that in traffic people wouldn't want to kill me. Because in San Francisco, it's every dog for himself, and I had to have something that would make people want to laugh instead of want to mow me down, because I rode pretty hard in the city, in the traffic. So Fisher saw me about 2 or 3 months after that Thanksgiving Day ride and goes, "Aren't you the chick with the striped socks and the bell helmet and the duck?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Boy, you really rode hard on that ride. It was amazing." Well, we made a date to go on a road ride. And for about 3 months, he kind of coached me because he saw some kind of talent there. And I got into road racing and did very, very well. But naturally, in the back of my head, there was always this experience that I had on my good old clunker Raleigh. And we entered a race one weekend. There was no road race, so we went to Whiskey Town and went to the very first Whiskey Town downhill, which is the ultimate mountain bike race. And if there's never another one, they had about 6 of them. I'm going to cry because that was really what it was all about. 80 people came. That was an enormous amount of people in '81. We were all trucked up to the start, and my bike had a flat when we unloaded it from the truck. And so the promoter just goes, "Oh, everybody wait, we got a flat tire." And everybody waited 5 minutes to change tubes. It was on a borrowed breezer that I rode. I'd never ridden it before. And I got 7th. Now, there were 75 or 80 people, so I was in the top 10 of the men. And there were certain people that I couldn't keep up with on the downhills, but I'd chug past them because they were all either smokers or just not in great shape. I was in wonderful road shape. And if you succeed at something on the very first time you try, it's really hard not to keep doing it. And especially with my personality makeup, I guess I'm scared to try new things, but if I do something and then do well in it, something must be right.
In the first half of the 80s, you dominated mountain bike racing, winning 3 national championships in almost every race that you were in. How did you go about conditioning for these races?
I only tried to keep up with Charlie, my boyfriend. Training wasn't a word I was familiar with. It was going out and playing on my bike and trying to close the gap between Charlie's rear wheel and my front wheel. Charlie is a consummate bike handler and a very, very strong climber. And having him to pattern after, I was like a little goose that tried to follow Papa Goose around and never even rode with women. Wombats came much later. I was only measuring myself against one of the very best men in the sport. Charlie consistently did top 10 in the pro field, even though he was 10 years older. And so, I was just out playing. I really didn't do anything. Diet, well, my diet is a very high-fat diet, and I'm afraid that I don't have any kind of advice, because if you eat what I eat, you're going to get fat and have shitty skin. There must be an Eskimo component or something. I just love butter, cheese, beer. I've got a high alcohol, high beer, I don't know if I want to tell your nice viewers this, but the 5 basic food groups are salt, sugar, fat, alcohol, and Mexican. So
seemed to work for you.
Well, maybe it held me back, but I never found that out.
Yeah.
I was always trying to pack as many calories in with as little space as possible to eliminate the discomfort of having to pile in all these vegetables and barely get any calories out of them. Now that I don't race so much, I definitely eat a lot more responsibly. Like, I even eat vegetables now. I didn't used to. Potato, cheese, bread, beer. That was my training diet. One thing that I'd love to tell people is that I used to drink the day before a race maybe a gallon of water. Now that's what somebody says you should be drinking anyhow. But nobody really does that. But I really did, and I would know it because all night long I'd be running to the bathroom. But that meant that everything was all filled up to the top.
Yeah.
And I'm not likely to get as dehydrated, and that came in real handy in very long hot races where you don't get the chance to drink enough no matter how hard you're going.
Is it true that you once lost your shirt at a race?
Yeah, about 5 years ago, to the horror of the race promoter, the last 5 miles I came in with my shirt off. I actually didn't take the time to whip off any shirt. I just had a bathing suit on and I rolled it down to protest the fact that that nobody could tell I was a woman when I was crossing the line. You know, they'd go, "Oh, here comes the 13th guy."
Yeah.
But and then when the next one would come in, they'd, oh yeah, here comes a woman, all right, yay! So this was going to eliminate any doubt. I guess the sport was young enough that you could get away with that kind of thing. In road racing, where I had come from, you had rules dictating how long the sleeve had to be, the color of your socks, the fact that your pants were black. And this was one last hurrah before the, before the axe came down. And of course now we know that there's going to be a rule book this thick, and things are going to change in mountain biking. But that was an exuberant act with not too much forethought. As it turned out, it was kind of popular with the women and most of the men, but there were a couple of guys that were really bummed that I would have the nerve to do that. But I'm the kind of girl that likes to moon people as a final farewell too.
How'd you get the nickname Alice B. Toe Clips?
That was my own making. There's something about bad puns. Ever since I read, I forget what kid magazine it was, but they always had these funny names for books. The Yellow River by I.P. Freely and Cliff Jumping by Hugo First. And Alice B. Toe Clips was a play on the name Alice B. Toklas, who was a figure in American literature by dint of her being tight with Gertrude Stein, who really changed the direction of American literature. And toe clips and toe clips sound so similar. I had to do it. I had to. It was also a little device that I could beat all the guys and be this gnarly bitch Alice B. And then afterwards be really nice at plain old Jackie. I was hiding behind this phony name, and I allowed to be gnarly during that.
Tell us something about the Wombats, Jackie. You started the Wombats, I believe. What's happening with them?
Well, Wombats, first of all, is the Women's Mountain Bike and Tea Society. That's the acronym, WOMBATS. And I began it when I got sick. I spent a year in and out of bed with some virus or another, or 10 viruses, I don't know. And finally was ready to make good on my promise that I would ride with women only on mellow rides, and I'd hold up the rear, be the last person so that nobody had to be last, because I would guarantee to be last. And we'd follow it up with coffee and dessert at my house. First 4 women showed up, and then 8. And pretty soon there were 15 women every week coming to my house. And I had the time, because really that was about as much of a ride as I could handle. 8 miles, maybe 10 to the lakes and around. Local bakery, Bread and Chocolate, sponsored the Danish. And I got a coffee maker, so we drank coffee as well as tea. The whole reason to start something with a funny name like Wombats was to offset the gnarly image of the sport. I figured if you called something a tea society, it might, come out wherever you are. And the women would come out of the woodwork and go, hey, I can do it. If she's going to go slow, who cares? I'll be next to last, and we'll have fun, and it'll be chatty and social. I think there's a very chatty social element to mountain biking, but you never see it in the ads, in the magazines. It's always a guy, a grimace, a creek. Any, 2 of those constitutes an ad, and there's never any women in them. So I began just accenting and accentuating the feminine, because these bikes, I think they liberate a woman. She's not as vulnerable as she is jogging in a big city park like Golden Gate Park, or out in the woods. You'd have to be Carl Lewis to beat even the weakest woman turning away and pedaling like crazy on her bike. Now that's not a common situation. I don't think I've ever even heard of that, but a woman will feel safer on her bike than on foot.
What do you see as the future of mountain biking?
Boy, get out my crystal ball here. In the future, it'll be so impossible to cover races insurance-wise that people will have to do it from the comfort of their living room with little computer models of bike races.
Joystick.
Right, and they'll plug in the race, who they want to race against and what kind of terrain and how hard they want to work, and they'll do it all, and we'll be a sedentary, vicarious society. Right now, well, it seems like we're going that way, but I guess I'm going to always be stuck in the beginning of the 80s riding my bike to get to work, riding my bike to do my errands, hating to drive a car, and just using the bike as a tool to communicate with nature. I mean, it's the thing that I learn about my county. I know more about Marin because I rode a bike, and I might even have to learn some geology because I keep doing face plants. And I'd like it to be a real transportation tool, not just a recreational venue that's going to get out of style in 10 years or 5 years, to be replaced by left-handed frisbee surfing. So my last thing is, why not use the thing to really get around and protect the environment and get active politically, because there's people that really think these are awful machines from hell, and they're really not. They don't do the same violence to the atmosphere that a car does. So
Yeah.
value our access and improve it, because it's going to be shrinking. We're going to have less and less access if we don't get active now. And that's pretty much it.
Well, that's it for this edition of the Mountain Bike Show. I'm Ted Wright. Thanks for watching. If you would like more information about the Wombats, write to Wombats, P.O. Box 757, Fairfax, California 94930. If you'd like to help keep the trails in Marin County open to mountain bikes, contact the Bicycle Trails Council of Marin, P.O. Box 13842, San Rafael, California 94913, or call 472-BIKE. If you would like to see more editions of this show or have any comments, write to The Mountain Bike Show, P.O. Box 271, Ross, California 94957.